What a coincidence. Snuck TVT right after I just casted a Tom Terran TVT where I talked about the idea of fast expanding in TVT. So the idea of fast expanding in TVT is that it takes 50 seconds to a minute to walk across the field, and Marines trade evenly or better with every Terran unit as long as they have fewer than 5 siege tanks, which they're guaranteed to have before 10 minutes. And your fast expand is going to be about, your goal for your fast expand is to be about $500 behind benchmark per minute until about 8 or 9 minutes when you catch up to the benchmark, and now you're just sitting pretty. You're like, hey, I fast expanded, and yet I still have an army that's just as big as I would have had if I had one based. So your only goal at that point is to survive until 10 minutes, because at 10 minutes you're going to be way ahead. And in order to survive until 10 minutes, you need to be pre-warned of any pushes that are coming across the field so that you can pull SCVs if you need to, and that you can meet them before they siege up. And you need within $500 of benchmark of Marines. And to be within $500 of the $500 a minute benchmark, you need to start off $500 behind, because at 5 minutes you have basically nothing, and then produce $500 of Marines per minute from there, which means 4 racks to make 4 Marines at a time, or 2 racks with 2 reactor cores, but that's a little bit ridiculous, or 3 racks with 1 reactor core. Basically, you want 4 Marines at a time from 5 minutes on. And the way you did your build, obviously you don't have enough racks to or reactor cores or whatever you want to say to make 5 Marines at a time. So you're going to end up behind by more than 500, I think, and that can be bad. In order to support the army that you want to have, one thing you got to really worry about is this, though: proxy racks, man. I tell ya. So at 6 minutes, your goal is to have, I think, 10 Marines, and he has 10 Marines. So if it's 10 Marines against 10 Marines, you're gonna have to pull workers. But you only have 4. I don't know. I feel like I missed something. So you've made 8 and he's made 12. You want to have made 10, but even if you have made 10, if he makes 12, you're in trouble. So it's kind of a good thing you got this bunker, man. I don't usually get a bunker. The thing is, usually if he's made 12 and you've made 8, and he's making them all the way over in his base, then by the time he gets across the field, you'll be ahead of him. But because he proxied this racks, I'm a little bit worried. Anyway, I suspect that your bunker will not finish. Ouch, you're in some trouble. So you notice, even though he had 12 Marines at 6 minutes and you were only expected to have 10, he's producing 2 Marines at a time, whereas you're producing 4. So this type of attack never really kills me, but it often does a reasonable amount of damage. If he comes in with 12 against your 10 and he kills all your Marines with 4 left, then now you got 4 Marines shooting your stuff, and you're popping out 4 at a time, and he's reinforcing with 2 at a time. So it takes like 1 or 2 waves of reinforcement, so he gets a full minute where he's kind of doing damage to your SCVs, forcing you to float away, stuff like that. But because you're producing 4 Marines at a time, eventually you're going to overwhelm this, and it's no big deal. You were a little bit behind on Marine production when he showed up, so you're in an even more dire situation than I described, but it's not going to be the end of the world. You're going to get that bunker up, and all will be well. So now you've got 8 Marines against his 11 Marines, and you're fine. Oh, repair! Oh. You got the second bunker anyway. He doesn't even see it because he's floated the CC over it. That's very cute. And you're going to be okay. So this cost you a lot more than it should have, honestly. But you're ahead by 5 workers. You've got a bigger income. You've got the infrastructure that you need to spend at least a lot of that money. Because you're supply blocked and you're going to be supply blocked for at least another 2 minutes. First off, throw down 2 depots, not 1, because you're not going to even get out of supply block with that. But I would cancel all these Marines, throw down another command center, and start reactor cores on 3 of these racks, and start a tech lab on another one, get an engineering bay. Because for a full minute, you're going to be supply blocked, and you know it. So just don't queue up units. Start spending this money somewhere else, you know? It's just a general rule. Anytime you get supply blocked by an enemy attack, you gotta spend the money on something. And this is, your infrastructure is made to spend $950 a minute, which is depot and SCVs and Marines all combined. and you've got $1,200 a minute of income. So you're going to pile up money even if you weren't supply blocked. But now that you're supply blocked, you're going to pile up even more money, so you really just got to count on that and, play towards that expectation. Play towards that expectation, bro. So now you're massing Marines against somebody who's massing Banshees, and so you're going to do quite well in this regard, hopefully. As long as you have a turret or a scan or something when he shows up. I don't even think he got Cloak, actually. No, he did. He got Cloak. So he's going to kill 6 SCVs, but that's not really a big deal. Banshee costs 25, 250. As long as he kills, between 5 and 6 SCVs, that's kind of to be expected, and your fast expansion puts you ahead by 10, 10, 15. So losing a couple of SCVs isn't a big deal. What is a big deal is losing a billion SCVs, man. You should have a scan or a turret. You've actually got 2 scans. You're just getting flustered. And this is a symptom of people who haven't played enough games. Everyone who's in your situation is going to get flustered by this kind of stuff. But you've seen this strategy once now. If you see this strategy 25 times, you're not going to get flustered by it in the future. So now you go and win the game, and that's cool. The game. He's making a battle cruiser. What a weird guy. He killed his command center. Good job. So he completely killed you. You were dead, but the counterattack made it so that you win. You can put two Marines here, and he'll no longer be able to mine. It is natural. Because, a PF is kind of a joke. People who make PFs are hoping that their opponent isn't used to seeing a PF in that location and just attacks it. But you never have to attack a PF. You just have to stop mining. Because as long as it can't mine, who cares if it's alive? So now you know he's going BCs with BC upgrades, and BCs are like a really hard counter to Marines, especially on upgraded Marines. He's got 3 armor, he's working on 4. If he gets all the way up to 6 armor against 6 damage Marines, you're going to be in some serious trouble. But you're pretty, you got a lot of Marines. I'd say you're just generally really far ahead in every category at this point. You got a bigger income, you got a much bigger infrastructure. He's basically completely not mining, and you've got Vikings coming out. You're ahead in army size, all that kind of stuff. So you just kind of rip them to shreds. So that was great. Good job. The counterattack really saved your life. That was a great idea to counterattack. And he should have had a bunker. Never go cloak Banshees without bunkers. It doesn't make any sense. Because cloak Banshees, they're like mutas. They're a pinning unit. They're meant to pin and do some harass damage, but they don't defend your base. So you need a defense as well. You can't just make cloak Banshees and be like, by virtue of having cloaked Banshees, I shall not be attacked. Maha! That's not how it works. So let's talk a little bit about your build. Again, if you want to have 10 Marines at 6 minutes, you need to be getting the 3rd racks so much quicker. So before this orbital, you should have a 3rd rack. So notice how you have enough money to have built the 3rd rack. So since you can tell that I'm not lying when I say you should have built the 3rd racks before this orbital. And then after the orbital, you make the 4th rack. So right now, you can afford to have... Okay, right now you can afford the 4th racks. So if you start these 3 racks all before the first orbital, and you start the 4th racks now, you're going to have 3 Marines in production per minute for a while, for the next 2 cycles, and you'll just end up with more Marines. So it was it's like you memorized the concept of the build, but you didn't get the exact details of it down. And in a build that is so vulnerable early on, basically any fast expanding build, it's all about surviving until 10 minutes. So you can focus all your attention on how do I make sure that I'm absolutely doing everything perfect for the first 10 minutes, right? It's just like the TVP. We're planning on our game to end within 10 minutes, so it's absolutely critical that everything be perfect during that time. Same deal here. You're going to put yourself so far ahead just by surviving until 10 minutes that should be your main goal. And that doesn't mean get an early bunker out here. It just means have the number of Marines that it's possible to have, and there you go. You always need a 5-minute engineering bay. It's all the way down to 10 minutes. You should really be expecting cloak Banshees in every single game. You should be expecting them to show up at 7 minutes. which means a 5-minute engineering bay, and it means saving up some scans from 6 to 7.5 minutes. He comes really late with Cloak Banshees, so there's no shame in not having turrets and not having scans saved up. But if you already have the engineering bay, turrets build in 25 seconds. So if he comes with the 2 Banshees right here, you're guaranteed to get turrets up in your main before the Banshees get down there. So you just start 4 turrets at once, and they're going to get up before the Banshees can really do any damage. So that's why the 5:30 engineering bay is pretty crucial. I mean, here he is standing right above where you built the turrets, and the turrets still get up before he gets a chance to do anything. So yeah. Anyway, those are the only recommendations I have for your build. Obviously, he was much sloppier than you. This is pretty common when people go for Cloak Banshees. They tend to mess everything up because Cloak Banshees are stare-at-em units. They're like Hellion openings in TVZ. Or 2-Rax openings in TVZ. It's very common to do Cloak Banshees and put yourself further behind than you put your opponent. And that's what happened to him in this game. So anyway, I liked what you did with your units. I liked the choice of units you went for. But just like Tom, you went for a double Tech Lab Rax. Don't do this. Getting stim and combat shields at the same time is not really that important. You should get one and then get the other. Because reactor cores are super important. You need to be able to spend all your money. And your factory should start with a reactor core and then swap with the starport and then go Tech Lab and tanks, because you notice right when your starport finishes you have 200 gas. 2 medevacs is much more important than an unsiegeable tank. 5 tanks aren't really good until you have like 5 of them. So whether you get that first tank out earlier or later doesn't really matter, especially in a game where you know he's not tank pushing you. And especially like if you have a ton of Marines and 2 tanks, you're not going to try to resist a tank push by using your 2 tanks. You're going to try to resist the tank push by flanking it and hitting it with your Marines. So the existence of tanks isn't totally crucial in the early game. The medevacs are more important. And that's all. Bye.